This one is good old SaltEMike has you know you knew this story blew up when it started to reach the larger content creators out there, and I'm both surprised and glad that Mike decided to use his platform to amplify and signal boost this issue. That's a great screen, by the way.
Yesterday, people wanted me to check out, and I think it's been going on for a little while now. It is absolutely a problem from what I understand of the situation so far, but I don't know the details.
The audio on this one,
I think
okay?
I'm going to get a lot of the details here from Agent Sleddy or the leader of Mongrel Squad on an excessive griefing warning. I just think to start out, there is this battle that is going on in the Star Citizen community right now of players who want one game and players who want what was actually said would be in the game.
Right about that. There's definitely a group of players who is very vocally pushing for Star Citizen to be a game that it was never advertised to be. There's a large group of players who really want that PvP slider. And they're going to be real disappointed when CIG, if they stay true to their word and intended design that they've been stating from the beginning, those players aren't ever going to get that. At the best, they might get a system that just like is so low profit that it's not worth pirates' time to go to. That's probably the best thing that they're going to get, unless the NPCs become much more dangerous and much more prevalent, and they treat this like they do, in Eve, where if you go to the station and you start shooting people right outside the station, basically instantaneously a ship, warps in and immediately nukes you. Like there's no real chance to even escape that situation, right? Unless there's that level of security in the entire system wide, there's no guarantee of safety at all. Even in like those low profit systems, if there's dead space, right, and there are ways to take down the comms just like there are here, right, then they're going to run into the same problems that they do in Stanton, where they're out in the middle of nowhere on their own and a group of pirates shows up and wants to take what they got.
The players who want absolutely no PvP, nothing, want to be left alone to do their own thing, and players who would like to actually play Star Citizen, which will have some PvP involved. So this is Agent's Sleddy's response to CIG's handling of a false excessive griefing claim.
I want to share with you or a concern that I have with CIG's handling of a warning that was given to a fellow pirate, Captain Dirty from Chaos Squad. My subsequent post on Spectrum seeking clarification on where CIG stands on this. Captain Dirty was given a warning for excessive griefing from CIG's customer support service. However, Captain Dirty, and at least 186 other people believe that CIG were in the wrong here. The scenario that resulted in this warning is something that we all could encounter as pirates. Carrick boarding against a solo player who has their respawn point set to the medbed of the ship.
Okay, so I just want to start also out with CIG has a rule, which is insane to me, that you cannot discuss any moderation on their own forum.
That's a problem. It's a real problem.
I also want to point out
For this player, Carrick,
that Star Citizen is a unfinished game. And I think both of those things are going to play a huge factor in this.
Karen. As with every piracy attack, resistance is expected. However, what this Karen decided to do was refuse to take the loss when the pirate crew had taken positive control of the ship. What ensued was 30 plus minutes of trying to negotiate with Carrot Karen, then having to suppress them since they refused any offers.
Right away, bad choice. Bad choice of words. You, Agent Sleddy, and many other pirates have used broken mechanics with Star Citizen many times to pirate.
Okay. That's an argument that I think SaltEMike could make against Mongrel Squad. Mongrel Squad is known for using a tactic of placing boxes over a ship where they will like glitch into the ship and then use those boxes to track players. I think you could make the argument that that is using an exploit. And you could maybe make the argument that that may be some level of minor griefing if you go and then attack that player. But if you only do it like once, I don't really see that as that big of a deal. The issue for me is that, and we don't do this tactic in Chaos Squad in case you're wondering, I just don't like using glitches and exploits. Sometimes it happens to me unexpectedly and randomly that a glitch or something like happens and it's in my favor. That's absolutely happened. But I don't intentionally go around and use any exploits or glitches to get into ships or to bypass the security systems. Everything that we do is like allowed within the game mechanics of Star Citizen. Okay, so to claim that all pirates are using exploits or glitches is kind of, it's painting with a very broad brush, and it is not accurate, right? Anytime you paint with a broad brush, it just doesn't apply to everyone. Okay, different pirate groups have different levels of how much they accept the flaws in the game design and use them to their benefit. Okay, I think the only thing in this situation that is even close to that is when I, in comms range, boarded a ship that wasn't mine and took control of it. Okay, yeah, there's an argument to be made that I should get some level of crime stat for doing that. And that there isn't a way for players to push a button just like they do if we shoot them or murder them to give us that crime stat is kind of problematic, and is probably another element of game design that should be added to the game to make it feel more balanced, right? I think if you give that to the PvE community to, oh, there's somebody on my ship I don't want on my ship, I'm going to charge them with a crime. They get to push a button and do something and get that dopamine hit and feel like, I'm in charge of this situation, when really they're not, right? Really what's going to happen is they're going to die in the next 30 seconds, or their ship's going to fly away and leave them wherever the fuck they used to be, right? I really don't like it when SaltEMike says that, or implies that myself or my crew used any kind of exploit in this situation. There were no exploits used, plain and simple.
Name calling is not getting you anywhere in this situation.
Okay. This has become a real sticking point for a lot of the people in the community, this Carrick Karen title that that our boy Vinny the Skinny was given. Okay. I think it's funny. I think it's, like Agents has said, it's a memorable name, right? When you say Carrick Karen, everybody knows who you're talking about, except at this point, I think that they're probably wrong. This guy right here on the screen, that's not Carrick Karen. Carrick Karen is the person on Reddit who decided to report us to CIG with probably zero context of the situation. And if there's any truth to the message that we just read from Vinny, he was having a blast the whole time. So it's no wonder why he didn't choose to respond somewhere else. He enjoyed this interaction, right? We gave this player an experience that he will probably never have again. Okay, I mean, in all likelihood, you can play tens, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of Star Citizen and not encounter a pirate. That might change in 3.18. In fact, it probably will change in 3.18. It'll probably go down to maybe you can go 100 hours without ever experiencing a pirate attack. Okay, but, you know, yeah. I will say that, like, using derogatory names like that, and you know what? I call the community Care Bears all the time. All right? It's not a great way of, like, making or backing up an argument, and I think everybody knows that. But to say, like, oh, you called somebody a bad name, now it invalidates everything you just said is dumb. It's really dumb, right? Especially if there are good and reasonable arguments that are being offered. And I think that Agent Sleddy makes a persuasive argument in both of the videos he made.
And all that I can tell is happening is the other side is using broken mechanics to avoid losing. Just take the loss. Just take the L. Why? Right? If they have time, they could do this just as well. And like I said earlier, so just in case people don't understand what's happening here, is
just in case people don't understand what's happening here, let me give an inaccurate description of what's happening here. Let's go. Let's hear it.
Player here is the player getting pirated. Person here is the person pirating with the gun. Right? Player here continued to respawn in the medbed over and over and over again.
So far, so good.
This is a common occurrence, apparently. And it is a pirate tactic to stand over the medbed and continue to suppress them and kill them while they do the piracy. Right?
Okay. So far, so good. Let's see what else he's got.
And it falls in this, like, super gray area of, is that, and I don't think it's gray. I think it's black and white, and it's not griefing because both sides are.
A little surprised. I'm a little surprised at that. Okay. All right, Salty.
Kind of in a tough spot here, right? But I'll let it continue. It's a 12-minute video, so.
Okay. No, he wasn't inaccurate with what he said was happening there, although he missed tons of other context, like the part that we're keeping, you know, we're making the situation happen so that we can accomplish a clear objective that is absolutely a legitimate piracy style of play.
I'll try to get in.
Newly captured prize by killing good old Karen over and over again. Eventually, the Carrick's medbay was full of bodies from the suppression of this persistent player, and due to lag, Captain Dirty was eventually taken down by Karen. However, his crew continued to salvage the Carrick until it was stripped of all value and then handed back to the owner. If you wish to see the hit, then the link will be in the description of this video. I'll link it with a card at the top right hand side of the screen as well. A post was made on the Star Citizen Reddit with a screenshot showing PES in its glory with piles of Karen's bodies littering the Carrick's medbay. That post has over 2,000 upvotes. Also linked in the description of this video. However, Captain Dirty received an email from CIG shortly after warning him of excessive griefing and kindly asked that he refrain from this type of behavior going forward, informing him that future incidents could result in more severe penalties.
That's insane. That's insane.
Thanks, SaltEMike. I felt the same way.
That is insane. How is it the player who's respawning, like, I want to be very clear here. It is not the player who's respawning over and over against Fault. That's why this whole Carrot Karen thing is ridiculous as well.
Well, I don't know. Honestly, like, even if Vinny was having a blast, as he said, while this whole thing was going on, it's definitely his fault that this continued to happen. Okay, we were there doing legitimate salvage. We stole his ship, you know, fair and square. Just saying that kind of cracks me up. But we stole it, man. It was ours. We had more guns than he did on board. We had a crew of people outside working on the ship. It was ours. Okay? Absolutely, the reason why this continued to happen was because this player kept on respawning. If he had just, honestly, the best thing that this player could have done to regain control of the situation was not respawn. I don't think that's an option, honestly, but if it were, right, if he had just not respawned for 5 minutes, we would have been like, okay, we're probably good. Let's go ahead and start hunting again. You know, no reason to sit around here staring at a fucking empty med bay. Right? Let's go ahead and go. Anyways, this whole situation here with the message I got from CIG, it is bullshit. And like, there was no attempt to communicate with me. I made an attempt to communicate with them. It was immediately shut down. It's kind of garbage. And I mean, in these types of disputes, there are 2 sides to the story. Actually, there are 3 sides, 4 sides, 5 sides. There's 100 sides to the story at this point. There's my side. There's the other guy involved. There's the people on Reddit with their opinions. There's the content creators with their opinions. Everybody at this point has an opinion on this, and only a few of us were actually in that situation. And the moderators need to be more open to communicating with the player base about these things. And they maybe need to like pump the brakes a little bit when they're looking at one screenshot and one person's inaccurate third-hand knowledge of the situation before they make their decisions and start handing out warnings. Because as I've said on other streams, this is not the first warning I got. It's not the second warning I got, okay? I'm not going to tell you exactly how many warnings I got, but y'all know I got at least 2, okay? At what point do they stop becoming warnings, right? And if you're going to actually, you know, suspend my account, are you actually going to look into the situation before you make your decision? Because what you're showing me here is that you're not, okay? Half of the reason why I stream every single time I play Star Citizen is so that I have documentation and evidence when this sort of thing happens. Okay? When I got this, the first thing that I did was not go make my clip. The first thing that I did was try to get some answers out of these guys. And they gave me none, and they shut down the conversation. All right? So I made my clip, right, that shows the entire hit, start to finish, as far as my footage goes, okay? They have to look at this kind of stuff, right, if it's there. But there's an even bigger question behind that, and that is, well, what about all the other pirates who are not recording and streaming every second of their gameplay, right? What happens to them when somebody files a complaint against them because they've got a screenshot, right, and a story? I mean, there's no video evidence, so now it's just one player's word against the other, okay? And this is a terrible situation for them to be in. There's no winning in this situation, right? What they need to do is design their game in a way that the sandbox works, right? The sandbox can be played in and it doesn't break, okay? And right here is a clear example of where the game kind of broke, okay? But this response was just so from CIG was very like shoot from the hip, and it's fine, you know, it's only a warning. It's not that big of a deal, this one particular warning, but the idea that this is possible, that is a big deal, and that does need to be addressed. And you know, with the amount of like times people like I was going through Reddit today and I saw a post that was like, I'm going on a bit of a rant here, right? I saw a post where a player was new to the game, had accidentally shot another player. He must have been in an area where the game allows you to do that. Okay? Otherwise, the game would not have allowed him to do that. All right? This guy, this new player to Star Citizen, accidentally kills another player. He mistook him for an NPC. Maybe some of you have seen this post too, right? That new player panicked and logged out of the game. Okay? And I kind of wonder if it's because everybody is so quick to just, oh, I got griefed. Oh, that guy's a griefer. Stop griefing me, right? It's like, as soon as you do anything to a player that like makes them stop doing what they intended to do and do something else, that's not griefing. That's PvP. That's not griefing. People need to understand that. CIG needs to do a better job of policing their own community and educating their own community about what griefing is and is not within their game. And just getting PvP'd once, it's not griefing. And if you feel like it's griefing, man, like, there's always Elite Dangerous. You know, you can go there and you can be safe. Nobody's gonna mess with you. But in Star Citizen, PvP happens, and PvP will happen to you eventually if you play Star Citizen long enough.
He is using an in-game mechanic just the same way that you could have vaulted forward before, you could have blown up your own ship. All those things were in-game problems that CIG has now suppressed with game dev solutions, right? We now have another one that needs to be addressed. That's it. Who you should be mad at, who you should be giving a hard time to, is CIG for not fixing the problem.
Really?
It is not griefing to not get killed by this player.
Thank you, SaltEMike. It is not griefing to defend our prize. It's pretty simple, man. I don't understand. Like, if you don't understand that, you're so biased in this conversation. It's so clear. It's so clear you're biased.
That is spawning over and over again, which you could see in the video. Eventually, he used the insane desync that we have with players in FPS to get behind the pirate and knock him out and then stomp on his head and send him to prison, right? So at what point is either player the actual problem? No point. The game is the problem, right?
And that's it. Plain and simple. The game should not allow this to happen. The fact that it does is a serious short sight.
Should this be a prioritized fix right now? I think you have an argument that it's not.
I don't know, Salty. I'm not sure about that one. I don't think this should go to the top of their list. But I do think that if this thing doesn't get fixed and this continues to be possible, CIG is putting out a patch that everybody who is ever interested in piracy has been waiting for a long time. It's the patch that allows us to take boxes off of your ship and put them onto ours. Okay? This will not be the only Carrack that has people spawning in the medbay that have been stolen by a pirate crew, and where that pirate crew is forced to kill that player while they do their work. Okay? That's gonna happen. In fact, it might happen to us again, where we're in this situation. Okay? We're 10 days out now. We still don't have an answer, in-game or out, on how we handle this situation. Okay? We've done so much theory crafting and going back and forth on different solutions and different ways to deal with this. And should we just take the L now, right? Is probably the safe thing, right? We just soft death the ship, lose money on our salvage, whatever, right? That's probably the safest thing to do. But it's certainly not the only thing that we could do. Whether or not those other things would be considered griefing, we don't know. We don't know. That's why this whole idea, like, I really wish the guidelines were more clear. Okay? But I think it's unlikely that we're going to get more clear guidelines, which is why I argue for these things need to be solved by the game mechanics and not by passing out warnings to players. If anything, it should be a conversation with the player. This just off the cuff, like, you're bad, here's a warning. Like, it's such a bad approach, and it's got me and other pirates seriously considering how much time we want to spend in on CIG's product and how much we want to promote their product. And I'm sure me just saying that, if there are any people from the anti-piracy, anti-PvP crowd out there, that is exactly what they want to hear right now. They want to do anything that they can to push us out of the game. All right? And CIG is just giving them the tool to do that. And that's fucked up. They should not be dealing with these situations in this way. I mean, unless it's like so clear, there's video of somebody pad ramming somebody, right? You can't dispute that. You can't dispute that. It's clearly against their rules. Okay, but this is a gray area, not clearly stated. Excessive is like, there's no clear line on what is and what is not excessive. And you pair that with griefing, and there's no clear definition of what you call griefing within your game. And so many people, as I've already said, think that just getting PvP'd is getting griefed. And like, there's this complete gap between the understanding of what that word means between the development, the moderators, and a large portion, probably most of the player base. We don't really know exactly what you consider griefing, CIG, and that's a big problem. Okay? But it wouldn't be a problem if your game mechanics were set up in such a way where these situations would not just happen naturally through gameplay. I mean, maybe if you engineer some situation and you really fucking work at it, you might be able to make something happen. But this shouldn't just like be possible randomly within the game. It's just that simple.
Okay? But what CIG absolutely should not be doing, and this is a complete joke, is sending a warning for excessive griefing when both players are. Both players are excessive griefing at that point, and both players are abusing the game mechanic that shouldn't exist in the game.
I mean, we were both having fun, apparently. I know he couldn't have known that. But he said he was having a blast. We were laughing. I mean, honestly, I would rather be doing something else. But we made the most of it.
The only comment that should be made is Star Citizen is an unfinished game, and this is something we'll be looking at in the future. That is so stupid.
Since the first email didn't tell him why he was getting the warning.
CIG moderation on their website, CIG's comments around griefing and everything have been a joke from the start.
He followed it up to confirm if it had to do with the medbay incident on the Carrack, which they confirmed, and then shut down any further dialogue by stating that they consider the incident closed and may not respond to further inquiries. If you wish to learn more, Captain Dirty made a response video to the emails.
And again, they just close it, no response, nothing, no conversation, done.
And the scenario explaining his side of the story. Link in the description and in the card in the top right corner. This is a re-upload since the original video had audio issues and after seeing my Spectrum posts had been deleted, he had also decided to sanitize the email screenshots so as not to display the CIG customer service employee's name that he was speaking to, in case he was unintentionally violating CIG's terms of service again. When I found out that Captain Dirty received a warning from CIG, I was furious and very concerned. I had watched the video of the whole incident, and what I observed was a player who couldn't take a loss and was just doing whatever they could to disrupt the pirates from being able to profit from their captured prize.
I love Letty, but Letty is biased as fuck in this scenario. Like, biased as fuck, okay? And that's okay. It's expected, right? This is all you do. This is your life. You know, this is your lifeblood of the game for you. I understand.
I mean, it's true though. I mean, Vinny was not ready to accept defeat. Vinny refused to accept defeat. That's it. That's it. I mean, in any other game, there would have been a way for us to disable the respawn mechanic. Okay, but that is absolutely what happened here, is Vinny refused to accept defeat. So, you know, I don't know how you could say it's not. Like, it's absolutely what was happening here. We were in complete control of the ship and the situation.
And being biased, I'm biased in another scenario in the game. Incredibly biased in something else that I've been complaining about lately. I'm not...
I think you're biased in this one too, actually.
Putting him down for that, you know? I'm not saying this is his life in real life. I'm saying this is his Star Citizen life, right? But you gotta recognize that as well.
Considering the exposure that the screenshot had received on the Star Citizen Reddit, it is highly likely that CIG's customer service caught wind of what happened through some belligerent, militant, anti-PvP members of the Star Citizen community.
They don't have to.
Who made disingenuous claims.
He's true. He's right. That's true. The Carrick owner, Vinny, I think we'll go ahead and call him, is under no responsibility to accept defeat. He's not. He absolutely had the choice to continue to do what he did, and if I were put in his shoes, I probably would have done the same thing for at least a little while. I don't know if I would have gone for 45 minutes, but for at least 5 minutes, probably, maybe even less than that, really. I mean, if they're clearly in control, what am I going to do? What do I hope to do here? Except waste their time. That's it. That's the only thing you'll accomplish.
Claims against Captain Dirty and what happened.
Winning.
And CIG acted.
Winning? Winning what? SaltEMike, I don't know about that one. I mean, at the best, you could say, again, that he wasted our time, and maybe you could call that a temporary stalemate. But, like, we were in complete control. We got everything we wanted out of that situation. I don't know how you say he wins. I mean, he maybe got a win when he managed to desync kill me. I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
On it. If you watch the video of the hit, then you would be hard-pressed to disagree that CIG only acted on the screenshot, because it sure as hell looks like they didn't watch the video at all, which led to my Spectrum post. Comply or die. For gameplay doesn't work if you're going to give out warnings to players when they enforce the consequences of not complying, which I would link to you for you to read in your own time, except I can't because it was deleted from Spectrum, because posting screenshots and videos that include the details of player support interactions and discussing those is against CIG's standard of conduct, as well as the unkind replies against staff members throughout the discussion. However, as a positive, they did say that they passed on this feedback towards their relevant teams. Fortunately, one of my...
Anything you discuss moderation at all, it instantly gets deleted. If you even say the word CIG mods, deleted. They are insanely defensive, and it is bad precedent. There can be no, like, I have a lot of issues with the fact that you can be completely aggressive to anybody who has a negative opinion about the state of the game, the state of a feature, whatever, and that just lives on the website forever. But the moment that you have a negative opinion towards somebody who's saying something positive or whatever, or like don't agree with somebody in that nature, bang, you're getting hit.
I also have some issues with CIG's moderation of Spectrum. I find that, like Reddit, the majority of the people on Spectrum are very anti-PvP, very anti-pirate, and they are not receptive or kind or usually reasonable to any pirate or anything any pirate says on Spectrum. Um, there's just, if you're gonna do it, you just got to know that like 90% of the people there are going to flame you or troll you or throw some stupid bullshit like logic trap at you. It's like such a fucking waste of time. I stopped doing it a long time ago. It's just no, it's a waste of my time. Complete waste of time. The people there, I mean, I think we have to face it. Like, at least the people who are vocal about Star Citizen are mostly not PvP or pirate players. The majority are the Care Bear community, the PvE players, right? And they're coming from a like single player MMO, cooperative MMO experience, and that's what they think Star Citizen is. That's what they want Star Citizen to be. And CIG just allows that to live on Spectrum. Okay, but as soon as you try to reality check these people, right? And you can do it in the gentlest of ways. You don't have to fucking call them Care Bears. You can't call them Care Bears. You'll get a warning for that. You'll get suspended for that. Don't do that on Spectrum. Okay? But you have to like baby them. And even then you're liable to get shut down or warned or suspended. And it's just not worth my time to do it. It's clear that my opinions are not really welcome there by most of the community. And the things that I'm trying to draw attention to from the development side, it get ignored. Like, I posted a clip of it wasn't me, but it was people in my org that stole a Cuddy Red back when Cuddy Reds used to be respawn beds as well. We did the exact same thing. We posted it to Reddit. No response. Nothing. So, it's all bullshit.
Like, there's a perfect example of J3PT on the website. Insanely aggressive towards anyone who has a negative opinion about something, right? I rarely ever see him get moderated, ever. But you can't comment on those things on the website where the moderation is, because they'll immediately delete you, delete the thread.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. You post something on Spectrum, right? People start coming at you, right? You got people coming left, right, and center, right? Giving you all kinds of fucking bullshit. Some of them are calling you sociopaths, right? All of them are fucking trying to be obnoxious and trolling you. And most of the time, I mean, sometimes you do get some reasonable conversations happening there, but I gotta say, it's not it's not what I expect when I go there. Okay? I'm kind of surprised when I see it, right? But as soon as you, as a known PvPer or pirate player, start, pushing back at all to shut you down, it's clear that they have a very limited tolerance for the opinions of the PvP community on their own forums. And that, I think, also is fucking frightening for the PvP community, and the treatment needs to be handled evenly. You can't treat the PvP community one way and the PvE community another way. All that does is create more tension and more conflict. If you're going to make a ruling, it's got to be applied evenly. It should be obvious, I think. But I don't think it needs to be said, but I'm saying it anyway.
Everything.
Members saved a copy of the HTML page, and another was able to provide screenshots and videos of the replies to the post. There's personal information on the HTML page, which I've omitted from the video here. However, I won't be sharing it outside of the video. What I will
This is a long-ass video. I'm not sure if we're going to get all the way through it, but we'll try.
do is post screenshots of the OP and the video of the replies on Mongrel Squad's public guilded server for you to see for yourself, which contain the latest replies and statistics prior to my post being deleted. Once again, links in the description below. The crux of my Spectrum post was highlighting all of the evidence associated with the incident, providing counter arguments to the accusation of excessive griefing against Captain Dirty by pointing out that Carrot Karen had other options that they could have explored to get out of the encounter, pointing out that CIG had now set a dangerous precedent with customer service could be manipulated to be
I also think it's funny a little bit that everybody assumed that that player did not want to be there. But if the message I received is to be believed, he absolutely did want to be there. He chose it and kept choosing it.
weaponized against players now that they are given out a warning with an easy to replicate scenario. How their handling of the incident brings into question where future gameplay could be interpreted as excessive grief.
Bro, I don't know what's happening right now. I did everything that I was told to fix this YouTube buffering issue, and I don't know why
due to the nature of
it's being
it
so
being
weird.
disruptive. And then posing to CIG a question, when does an individual's responsibility for the gameplay cease to be their responsibility and become CIG's? Whilst there are a few detractors trying to push ridiculous counterpoints, the majority were in agreement that CIG had made a mistake with how they handled this incident.
I think that's an important point too. You know, yes, there are a lot of people, especially now that this hit kind of the mainstream content creators, a lot of people are coming out on the PvE side of things. But for the most part, when I looked at that post, it was actually mostly pretty supportive. Most people said that they thought CIG had fucked up here. That was actually surprising to me. I think it really goes to show, you know, how poorly it was handled. When even people from the other side are like, yeah, but you don't really know the context here. And, you know, when you actually look at it, it doesn't really seem that bad, at least not for the players. It seems bad for your game, right? I saw a lot of that in that post. And honestly, that did surprise me.
With many players offering in-game solutions to prevent this scenario from being possible again. I was never expecting a reply from CIG with regards to the question, but
Like, that's the part that I'm not liking so far about this video, is so far we've touched on about 5 seconds of what the actual problem is, which is the fact that the player could respawn consistently over and over again. I think if you are going to, you cannot give that player a hard time, because all he's using is a situation in the game to, you know, ensure that he wins, which is, you know, I've seen Mongrel Squad drop boxes through a ship to ensure that it is marked, right? You know, using a bug to, you know, track players, things like that. Should that be allowed? Probably not, but right? Like, it allows for the existence of piracy. Like, you earn.
Whoa, dude. This idea that you have to abuse game mechanics and glitches to do piracy is wrong. I don't understand why he's making that argument here. I mean, he's not wrong that Mongrel Squad does use that tactic. And it probably shouldn't be possible to do, okay? But to say that, you know, that's like saying, like, it's like two wrongs don't make a right, right? Like, just because one group of pirates does something that probably shouldn't be allowed to happen in the game doesn't mean that this other player should be allowed to abuse the respawn mechanic. That's a problem in the game design. It shouldn't be possible. Okay, I don't know why you would argue the fact that some people in an unfinished game also abuse the mechanics that other people should be, it should be okay for other people to do that. It's I don't know, I just don't understand it, man. The solution is very clearly, for this specific situation, fix the fucking med bay so that we can turn it off. And make your game in such a way where you don't have to be policing, judge, jury, and executioner whenever there's a conflict between two groups of players with different play styles. The game just needs to be set up in such a way, and it needs to be. I mean, I understand like it's a game in development, it's unfinished, but like as it's being made and created, now is the time to be thinking about these things. You don't want to wait until the game is finished and then be like, oh shit, this is possible in our game. Why didn't we do something to address this problem earlier? No, now is the time. As you're building the game is the time for you to be thinking about how the different mechanics that you're adding into the game interact with each other. And this isn't like a complicated situation in this case. Like, this was not an impossible to foresee situation. It's so obvious to anybody who's ever boarded a ship with a med bay, this is a problem. Been a problem for years.
Earned it. Like, I look at that as a good, like, hey, good on you, Mongrel Squad. That's awesome. How can CIG turn that into an actual thing where we can, put something on a ship and track you, and maybe people on the ship can look for the tracker and then take it off and get rid of it, right? And then, so in this scenario, it's just like, okay, this is obviously something that player should not have been allowed to do, right? It is obviously a scenario where that player should not be allowed to respawn 30 fucking times, right? Like, there's no way that should be allowed to happen. That's the issue here.
That really is, in this situation.
There's no way that should have been allowed to happen. Period. End of story. And the player should be able to defend themselves against the other player doing that. Both are doing exactly what they should do to ensure their survival, right? The player who's shooting him over and over again never should be getting a warning. The player who's doing it, who's respawning over and over again, should not be called Carrick Karen. Right? It's the issue is the medbed.
It is pretty obvious in that situation.
But I felt compelled to bring this up, not only before CIG, but the community as well. Then the working week started for CIG and the thread was deleted, which is infuriating, disheartening, and concerning. I regularly check Spectrum to see what the community is talking about, if there's any new information, and also to voice my opinions, ideas, observations, and experiences. I've had threads locked, modified, and deleted before. I'm also one of the few people who has had a thread unlocked after a moderation review. But the reason why I feel infuriated, disheartened, and concerned is because to me the deletion reinforces a dangerous precedence where CIG isn't doing their due diligence when it comes to...
It's true. That really is the real issue here. They can mechanically fix the problem with the medbed. The way that they're handling these player disputes is very problematic right now. This needs to be done differently. There's got to be more conversation. It's got to get to a point where the players are not calling griefer every single time they get PvP'd. Okay? The more that the PvE community is rewarded for doing that, the more they're going to do it. Okay? They need to... I mean, I don't know how you would encourage people or discourage people from doing that, but, if the team is getting flooded with reports, they can't really take the time to look at all of them and give them all the attention that they deserve. Although I would probably say that most of the reports they get don't have video evidence. So the very least they could do is reach out for the other person's side of things. Unless they have clear and sufficient evidence of the crime.
To claims about excessive griefing, And if you try and bring it up in front of the community, they're going to shut you up. It's censorship. CIG, you've essentially said you can give us feedback, but it must be in the way that we want it to be given. If we don't like what you have to say, then we'll silence you. Well, that's not how feedback works. Not the type that encourages growth. That is a cold, corporate approach to handling customer dissatisfaction, far removed from the roots of where CIG came from. And that isn't the type of company that I want to support. Tumblr from Ramming Department made a similar thread after mine was deleted, broaching the topic of the term of service violation whilst carefully tiptoeing around ensuring not to mention customer service. It's also linked in the description. Head over there, have a read, comment if you want, and upvote if you agree. This entire situation had me reanalyzing my stance on CIG, Star Citizen, and doing content creation of myself and Mongol Squad playing Star Citizen. I've always stated that there are two goals for Mongol Squad when posting Star Citizen content. Promote Mongol Squad and promote piracy gameplay in Star Citizen. And I know we've been succeeding at both. We're not a huge channel, but we are growing, and I know our videos have inspired players to buy into Star Citizen so that they could raise the black and play the game as Space Pirate, even in its unfinished state. What CIG gets out of our videos doesn't correlate to what we get out of CIG. We paid to play their game, and they give us permission to show off their game and monetize the content. But if you read the terms of service, that can be revoked at any time. I was okay with this because I felt that our contributions would help achieve the vision to build the best damn space sim ever. I was okay with supporting the independent studio who was bucking the trend of chasing profit by not compromising and pushing the boundaries of what was possible for a video game.
Oh yeah, they're not chasing profit at all.
As I said before, CIG took a cold corporate approach to handling customer dissatisfaction, and I don't like where I'm seeing this going. For the better part of today, I've been wrestling with my conscience on what I should do next. I feel partially responsible because I encourage people to get out there and do piracy. Videos that we publish encourage...
You know, I watched this live, actually, and when Agents made this original monologue, and when he got to this part, I was actually kind of shocked and a little surprised. But, you know, he's not wrong. Like, in the aftermath of this whole thing, I also find myself wondering, like, how much more do I want to keep doing this? You know, do I want to keep on, you know, cranking out videos and streams every week and supporting this company if they're going to treat me in this way for playing their busted fucking game and threaten to suspend me and ban me? It really does make you pause. Really. I mean, how much time have I invested into this at this point? You know? But I think Agents is also right that if he steps away, if we step away, others will fill our shoes. And it's just going to keep on going the way it's going. So there's no real reason to stop at this point. There is every reason to keep talking about this, though, and to keep bringing up these kinds of issues and to shine a light on things like the medbay problem. And things like the way CIG handles its moderation, not only of its forums, but of its players. And the fact that we can't do that on their own forum is bullshit. If I didn't have a YouTube channel, if Agents didn't see my video and signal boost it, if SaltEMike didn't see Agents' video and signal boost that, nobody would know about this. Except the handful of people who, the whatever, how many thousands, not a handful, it's probably tens of thousands of people on Reddit who fucking saw that. That original post that was made almost 2 weeks ago now. You know, the real problem is for people who aren't able to do that. How many people without YouTube channels have gotten warnings from CIG and then asked them, like, oh, what did I do? I mean, I'm a pirate. I do this kind of shit all the time. Can you tell me, like, specifically where the problem was? And, like, you know, if there's something that's just, like, happening in your game where I'm, like, just playing my playstyle and a result of that is against the rules, well, then maybe you should fix that? I don't know. That seems like the solution here. Not pass out a warning. and then not explain why people got it. It's fucked up.
Encourage people to buy into Star Citizen. I feel like what I've done is led them into a trap where they have no clue of what we can and can't do. And the best we can hope for is that we don't get banned playing the game as pirates. And I don't like that.
So I saw somebody post like hashtag ad for his YouTube channel. This is not a hashtag ad for his YouTube channel that he was doing there. He was going, I have made videos. I have excited people about piracy, and he absolutely has that. If you guys have not, I'll hashtag ad for him. If you have not seen that.
Yeah, I mean, I said it before, I'll say it again. You know, I joined Star Citizen in 2014. I backed then. When 3.0 dropped, I played then. I was playing as a pirate then. It was very limited in what you could do at that point. I came back to the game almost 3 years ago now and got back into piracy because I saw a Mongrel Squad video. So, you know, and Agents knows that. I've told him that before. You know, and I know that we have also inspired people, because people have come to me as well and said that Chaos Squad has inspired them to play Star Citizen as a pirate, to bring their friends in and play Star Citizen as a pirate. And if CIG wants that kind of gameplay within their game, they have to A, allow it mechanically and from a moderation standpoint, and they need to not be shutting us down when we're trying to, with the best intentions, pirate in a legitimate way, you know? And if somebody accidentally steps into a landmine or steps on an eggshell, then they need to just say, hey, whoa, you know, maybe handle it this way next time. You know, we're not going to give you a warning, nothing on the record here, but just, we didn't like that too much, maybe something else, right? But they're not doing that. And that really, when you get down to it, that's the problem. That's the problem that, like, can't get solved by some coding and a game dev's week's worth of their time or whatever it takes, right? That's the thing that they need to continue to work on and make sure that they stick to going forward. Otherwise, you know, I think a lot of people are afraid that Star Citizen becomes Elite Dangerous. And none of us want that, except for 60% of the community who are Care Bears. And, you know, it's really on CIG, you know, to communicate to us the direction they're going to continue to go from here. And if this is the way that they're going to treat the PvP and pirate community, they're gonna lose large portions of it. And so if they want people like me creating this experience for Vinny, who had a blast for 45 minutes playing your game while I was griefing him, you're gonna lose us all. You're gonna lose all of that. And now it's gonna be on you to put more NPCs into your game, to give players something to do, to worry about, to plan for. Because it won't be us if you push us all out of your game.
At the Mongrel Squad YouTube channel, it is like some binge-worthy type content as far as...
And yeah, Mongrel Squad, they have good stuff, man. Check it out. I'm sure you have already if you're watching my channel.
Star Citizen and what player interactions can be like. I've definitely binged the YouTube channel plenty of times, and they've inspired me to want to do things like piracy, right? It's good. The problem here is that he's saying, I made these things going, this is what's possible, this is what we can do, and CIG's kind of got our back here in the sense of you can do piracy in the game. They've always said that you can do piracy.
They have from day one. They advertised the Cutlass Black as a ship that you could do piracy with from day one. They gotta back that up. They gotta support the pirate community, not push us out.
In the game, Xylo coming out saying, we want you to have a in-game solution for your in-game problems, essentially, right? So if you're getting pirated, fight back, right? That's what they want to see. And
that's what they got here. That's exactly what they got. They were somebody getting pirated. and that person did everything in their power to fight back. We gave CIG what CIG says they want. So why am I getting threats, being threatened with punishment for doing that? It's fucked up. And, I'm sure you're probably not listening, person on Reddit who reported me to CIG, but fuck you anyways.
This happened. So now everything that he's said means nothing, is essentially. Anything about piracy means nothing at this point.
CIG has stated piracy is something that you can do in this game. Never articulated what piracy entails beyond their Galactopedia post, but that doesn't explain how it's supposed to work in game. Everything you have seen us do on this channel has been from analysing what CIG has added to the game, theory crafting methods on how we can leverage what we have to pursue what we want, and an extensive testing and revisiting of ideas based on results. We didn't end up in the position we're in by accident. We worked our asses off to get to this point. Now it feels like the rug we're standing on is connected to a rope under tension, ready to be pulled out from under us if we do the wrong thing, irrespective if we knew it or not.
Bad, it's awesome.
All the while, CIG points at their game and says, you can do piracy in our game. And here I am making and releasing videos and telling others, come do piracy, it's great. Oblivious to the rope attached to that rug. I enjoy making our videos, sharing our stories, interacting with you all here, in-game and out. However, I was considering gating all of our content behind our public server and keeping it all internal. No paywall, just no advertisement for CIG either. Just so I wouldn't have this weight hanging over me. That content that I am making and distributing isn't putting players into a position where they give CIG their money and they get stitched up by CIG for doing something they didn't know was wrong. That wouldn't achieve anything. Star Citizen has turned into a behemoth, and the next lot.
Yeah, like I understand his frustration here is he's exciting people for piracy. Other people go out and do it, and then they get banned from the game and lose the money that they put into the account. That's crazy.
Content creators would step up to fill the void that we would leave, and the cycle would continue. Instead, the idea is to maintain the course, continue growing, expand our influence, and not only continue to display piracy gameplay, but also raise our collective voices in the Star Citizen community when CIG does something that we don't like. There's a line in the message I received when they deleted my post. It's copy-paste because it's in the previous mod message about another deleted post I'd received. But this line reads, while we hope to avoid doing so, should similar or repeated conduct be observed, more severe penalties may be applied to your account, leading up to a temporary suspension. The context for that line has to do with Spectrum posts for now. How long until it becomes the discussion of any moderation or customer service interaction anywhere? Could they enforce it? Well, just like Captain Dirty's incident with Carrot Karen and their medbed, only when they want to, using what evidence they could be bothered to collect. What could CIG do to help change my point of view?
What? YouTube,
Why?
why?
This is hard for me to say because I'm the type of person who expects.
This is only you.
Agents does bring up a good point. It's a little bit of the slippery slope argument, right? Like, oh, we got a warning for this. What's next, right? We're gonna get a warning for this, that, and the other thing. And I don't know. Not all slippery slope arguments are inaccurate. Sometimes it is a slippery slope. Usually not. Sometimes it is. Right? I think in this case, it is a valid question. Right? We don't know where any of the lines are. Like, CIG has drawn no lines in the sand other than pad ramming and stream sniping. Those are the only lines that are clear. Or talking about any moderation that CIG does on Spectrum. Those are the only things, right, that I am aware of that you definitely can't do. Oh, or call people Care Bears on Spectrum. Definitely don't do that either. But feel free to call people sociopaths. That's totally fine, apparently. Yeah, that's really the problem here, is we don't know where those lines are.
YouTube that does this.
Actions, not words, to show change. Right.
And we can't even talk about it on your own platform. That's a problem too, right? So it does make you wonder. It's made me wonder. Am I going to get in trouble for posting this stuff on YouTube? It's my own platform. I don't imagine they could police me from it. But there's nothing stopping them from banning me or suspending me for doing this, other than the fucking uproar that would happen as a result of it. That's the only thing that would stop them from doing it, I think.
Right now,
Look at it now.
All
And
CIG can do is
This is so ridiculous. I don't understand.
offer words. And I know that their words have to
I don't know why it's doing this. I might switch browsers at this point. I'm assuming it's Chrome.
be carefully chosen so
Okay, it looks like SaltEMike's having some problems here. We're most of the way through this. I think we're going to end this one here. I do think I'm going to do one more video here, and then we're going to probably call it. So we're going to take another little break here, and we will be back in a few minutes.
It's a damn tough life full of toil and strife. We reaver men undergo, and we don't give a damn when the fight is done, how hard the cannons did blow. 'Cause we're homeward bound from the hunting ground, with a good ship and crew within, and we won't give a damn when we drink our fill in the holds of old ruin. Rolling down to old ruin, me boys, rolling down to old ruin. We're homeward bound from the hunting ground, rolling down to old ruin. Once more we fly through the Stanton sky, through the black, the cold and pain. Them bulkhead walls, them mighty guns, we soon shall see again. For 6 hellish weeks we've passed our way, lying our grim living. But now we're bound from the hunting ground, rolling down to old ruin. Rolling down to old ruin, me boys, rolling down to old ruin. We're homeward bound from the hunting ground, rolling down to old ruin. Once more we fly to the pyro point, towards our station home. Our thieving done, our jump drive spun, and we ain't got far to roam. Oh, our crimes are tallied, our names are done, life sentences all round. A living gale is after us, thank God we're homeward bound. Rolling down to old ruin, me boys, rolling down to old ruin. We're homeward bound from the hunting grounds, rolling down to old ruin. How soft the light from the dying star, now the Lord is far astern. There's drinks abound in the neutral ground, awaiting our return. Even now our friends are looking out, hoping some fine day to see our engine tails marking dazzling trails, rolling down to old ruin. Rolling down to old ruin, me boys, rolling down to old ruin. We're homeward bound from the hunting ground, rolling down to old ruin. We're homeward bound from the hunting ground, rolling down to old ruin. It's a damn tough life full of toil and strife, we reaver men undergo, and we don't give a damn when the fight is done, how hard the cannons did blow. 'Cause we're homeward bound from the hunting ground, with a good ship and crew within, and we won't give a damn when we drink our fill in the holds of old ruin. Rolling down to old ruin, me boys, rolling down to old ruin. We're homeward bound from the hunting ground, rolling down to old ruin. Once more we fly through the Stanton sky, through the black, the cold and pain. Them bulkhead walls, them mighty guns, we soon shall see again. For 6 hellish weeks we've cast away, lying a grim living. But now we're bound from the hunting ground, rolling down to old ruin, rolling down to old ruin. My boys rolling down to old ruin. We're homeward bound from the hunting ground, rolling down to old ruin. Once more we fly to the pyro point towards our station home. Our thieving done, our jump drive spun, and we ain't got far to roam. Oh, our crimes are tallied, our names are done, life sentences all round. A living gale is after us, thank God we're homeward bound. Rolling down to old ruin, my boys rolling down to old ruin. We're homeward bound from the hunting grounds, rolling down to old ruin. How soft the light from the dying star, now the Lord is far astern. There's drinks abound in the neutral ground, awaiting our return. Even now our friends are looking out, hoping some fine day to see our engine tails marking dazzling trails, rolling down to old ruin, rolling down to old ruin. My boys rolling down to old ruin. We're homeward bound from the hunting ground, rolling down to old ruin. We're homeward bound from the hunting ground, rolling down to old ruin. It's a damn tough life full of toil and strife. We reaver men undergo, and we don't give a damn when the fight is done. How hard.
Okay, we're back. We're back. We got one more video to watch. This one is the recent Mongrel Squad video, the second response video that they made to this. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that and talk about that one a little bit. Got my cat here on my desk. I'm trying to look around. All right, here we go.
Seems a lot of people have missed the point of my response to CIG's handling of a false excessive griefing claim. People are hyper-focusing
Shit, he's serious. He took his hat off.
on the gameplay and the name calling instead of seeing the bigger picture. The Carrick medbed is just a cause that highlights the issue. The Carrick's medbed is an easy, replicable example of setting up the circumstances that leads to the issue. Fixing infinite spawns on the medbed removes a cause, but it doesn't address the issue. The actual issue stems from the handling of a claim of excessive griefing, in which it appears that CIG has handed out a warning based on a screenshot. This
Yeah, that is a big problem, right? You said it before, we'll say it again. CIG, if they're going to get involved in player disputes like this, they need to do a better job of communicating to both parties and reviewing all of the evidence before they make their decisions. This is a huge problem. It's a problem that I think could be avoided if the game mechanics didn't allow for such situations to happen. But since they do, CIG needs to figure out how to appropriately respond to these situations. And just giving me an off-the-cuff warning is not it. Sorry.
is the weaponization of customer service to attack players outside the game space. And to be honest, I really hope that CIG only took the screenshot into account, because the alternative is much worse.
He's right about that too. He's right about that too. If they looked at my gameplay and still decided it was griefing, holy fuck, are we in trouble, boys. Holy fuck. Because I couldn't imagine a more legitimate piracy a hit or attack. And if they actually even bothered to talk to the guy involved, it sounds like he would have said, no, I was having a great time. Don't punish that pirate. They did the same thing I would have done if I were in their shoes. The idea that CIG decided to step in at all in this situation is fucking ridiculous.
CIG cut off any possible chance of a response from Captain Dirty to defend himself, and they suppressed any further discussion, highlighting the issue for the rest of the community.
That's another big problem with this. If you're gonna step in, you gotta communicate with us. Where is the transparency that Xylo talks about in his post? Where is the transparency that Drac talks about in his emails to me? Where is it, CIG? It's not there. We're not blind. We can see it's not there. So why are you telling us you're going to give it to us if you have no intention of backing up those words?
And while CIG has rules for posting on Spectrum, there is no other way to highlight the problem on their platform to make the rest of the community aware of this. We're expected to trust CIG's judgment, and then we're not given the opportunity to defend ourselves when we have evidence contrary to their judgment. Captain?
Yeah, that's really, I mean, that really is part of the problem here, is even if you have evidence to support your claim, if you were being falsely accused of griefing, CIG apparently doesn't care to look at it. So it doesn't even matter. Like, it doesn't even matter if you're recording it, apparently, because they're not going to bother to look into it. They're not going to bother to talk to you. They're not going to bother to do anything except start passing out yellow cards left and right.
Captain Dirty has a video of the event, which is more than ample evidence to prove that the Carrack owner was more than willing to keep fighting back, engaging in gameplay, and keeping the situation going. I didn't see any griefing in there, just players engaging in gameplay, and a lot of other players agree. If CIG only took the screenshot into account for the claim, then it could be chalked up to an innocent mistake. But if they took the screenshot, the video, and in-game logs of the hit into account, then what we're looking at is a scenario where all someone has to do is keep coming back over and over again, regardless if they lose every fight. And eventually, CIG will side with a persistent player and punish the other group. That should bother you.
It should. It really should bother you. And I think it should bother you even more if it wasn't even any of the players involved in the situation. I cannot believe CIG did not do its due diligence and at least make sure that the person filing the claim was the one who was actually involved in the gameplay at question here. It's unbelievable to me that that didn't happen. Even more so than that they didn't bother to talk to me. It's crazy. It's crazy that that's even a possibility.
It bothers me, which is why I'm investing time and effort into highlighting this issue. We were sold a game where conflict is present and combat can happen, regardless if you want it or not.
And not just combat, but specifically piracy. From the very beginning, CIG has stated that piracy is an intended gameplay style within this game. You've got to back that up. You've got to back that up with action, CIG, and not just words.
Regardless if it's an NPC or another player. This issue highlights the potential erosion of PvP interactions in the persistent universe of Star Citizen, and it looks like CIG is trying to cover it up. I want to be wrong on this, I really do, but we don't know how many other players have been in this situation, and we've seen CIG say one thing in the past and then change course or even backflip on it.
That's another great point that Agents brings up, is we don't know how many people have gotten false reports and been slapped with a ban, warning, or suspension, or any kind of reprimand from CIG without them actually looking into the circumstances of that problem. And clearly they're not communicating with people, the people involved, except to slap warnings at them.
So where do we go from here? To start, make sure you're focused on the right issue. The Carrack's medbed is not the issue. It's a cause that led to this issue. The issue is that players are weaponized.
I kind of personally think there are two issues here. The medbay thing is a problem, and the way that CIG dealt with the medbay thing is also a problem. And I think it's fair for our agents to argue that the way that this is being dealt with is the bigger problem. But I don't necessarily agree with him that the medbay thing isn't really a problem. It is, especially going into 3.18 with the likelihood of this happening to more people. It's also a problem that needs to get addressed. CIG needs to address both of these problems. And it'd be much better for them and us if they did it in a way that was transparent and public, like they continuously said that they would do and continuously failed to do.
Using customer service to attack other players outside the gameplay space, and CIG is enabling it.
That's another big fucking problem. This is a video game. How are you letting people outside of the situation, outside of the game, attack me and you know, my investment into this game? That is a serious problem when you have that kind of thing happening in your community. I mean, man, if there's something that's going to kill this game, this is on the list for sure.
After that, bring this issue up within your communities. If anyone is okay with weaponizing customer support to attack players outside the game space, you should distance yourself from them, because that is real griefing. It shouldn't be tolerated by the Star Citizen community, and it definitely shouldn't be tolerated by CIG at all.
Now, I've made some reports, for sure. I've made numerous reports to people who, when they were the victim of a pirate attack, decided that they would use racist, homophobic, and other slurs in global chat and directed at me. Whether or not they got warnings for that behavior, I kind of doubt in most situations, but I do remember one very specific situation where there were serious repercussions for that group of players, but they took it to the extreme and repeatedly did so. I don't know so much if somebody gets their panties all twisted up and they drop an N-word in the chat once, if that's enough to get them a suspension or a ban. Maybe a warning. I don't really know. Okay? But if you know somebody who's out there weaponizing customer support against pirates for just PvPing you, fuck those people, man. Those are not the people you want to be playing this game with. I don't imagine how it's fun for anyone to stop playing the game, open up the CIG website, and file a complaint about a problem that they're having in the game, that the game mechanics allow to happen. Just the fact that that's possible is so... it's so stupid, CIG. Why are you allowing this to happen? Why?
And keep discussing this issue until you're happy with CIG's response. Don't go flooding customer support with hypothetical situations. You will just get cookie cutter responses, and players with unique issues that can only be handled by customer support have to wait longer to get a response. And don't go getting yourselves banned on Spectrum for violating their forum rules as well. Getting bans...
Yeah, it's really not worth it, guys. I mean, if you're going to Reddit or Spectrum and you are arguing this from the pirate perspective and you are, you know, not punching with the gloves, if you've got your gloves on when you're punching, okay, maybe you'll be okay. But the second you start pulling those gloves off, they're going to suspend you. There have been people in my own circle that I know that have gotten Spectrum suspensions for talking about this in, I wouldn't say completely unreasonable ways, personally.
There isn't a badge of honor, and it doesn't help with generating genuine dialogue when broaching topics that can be divisive amongst the community. For me, I have two goals set that I'm aiming to achieve here. I want to collect experiences from other players where they believe customer service was weaponized and used against them. And the other goal is I want to get a response from CIG on their stance on the weaponization of customer service to attack players outside the gameplay space. If you do have an experience that you would like to share where you believe customer service was weaponized against you, join our public gilded server, linked in the description below, and make a post in our forums. Make sure you present your evidence, and make sure you sanitize any screenshots of customer service names and avatars. I don't want to start a witch hunt against individual employees at CIG, because for all we know, they could just be following company policy.
That's probably true. Probably. And witch hunts against specific CIG employees is not going to get us anywhere at all. But I do agree with agents here. CIG needs to talk about this, and they need to address this problem. and the sooner the better.
CIG, I would like to see a response about the weaponization of customer service via a Spectrum post. CIG needs to make a clear stance on this subject in front of the entire community. Silence isn't an acceptable response at all. I'm going to continue pursuing this problem until CIG gives the community a response on this. Something that I'd like to...
Yeah, I don't think this is going anywhere. You know, people are going to still be talking about this for a while. People are still going to be talking about this until CIG does something about it. And people aren't going to forget about this either. Not at this point. It's way past that.
To point out is that we are on the cusp of a new major patch and a new ship variant being added to the game, causing this initiative to potentially fall off to the wayside because of all the new shinies distracting the community. I'm not telling anyone to not play 318. I'm not telling anyone to not buy the new ship. But what I am saying is don't let yourselves get distracted. This issue will persist irrespective of what events, releases, and announcements that CIG decide to make or do. The standard that you walk past is the standard that you accept. And if you want to continue being able to play Star Citizen without second guessing every action you take, then you shouldn't be walking past this issue either.
It's a persuasive argument he makes. If we set the, CIG is setting a precedent here. If we set the precedent that we're okay with this, this is going to continue to happen. If we don't let this go, if we continue to talk about this, wherever we can, however we can, without getting ourselves banned from whatever platform we're on, we need to keep doing that until CIG addresses this. That's just it. That's where it's at. All right. We've been at it for a little while now, y'all. I think I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. Thank you all for checking in and keeping up on what's going on. I do plan on making another follow-up video to this here coming up shortly. I'm really hoping that CIG addresses this publicly so that we can all see what their plans are going forward and how they're going to deal with this kind of stuff. So right now, the ball is in CIG's court.